Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, another day's gone by and I've got a video for you guys today, or a commentary, I guess you can say. My friend and I were having a discussion today, and he didn't know what capitalism is. And he's like, capitalism is this, capitalism is that. And I was like, well, you know what? Before I say anything, let me do a little research and let's see what pans out, okay? Because I thought I knew what capitalism was or what it is, but I wanted to make sure before I said anything to him. So I did a little research. I looked up, what it is, what the definition of it is, and what an example of it may be, so that he could realize what it actually is, and that way he can call what he's calling capitalism by its right name, which is not capitalism. So I went ahead and I dug up a definition of what capitalism is. And capitalism is private property ownership that exists. Individuals and companies are allowed to compete for their own economic gain, and free market forces determine the price of goods and services. Such a system is based on the premise of separating the state and business activities. And he was going off on a rant on how capitalism is bad because the big companies get all the money and they get all the tax breaks. And I'm like, but that's not what I understand capitalism to be. What I understand capitalism to be is what I just explained to you. Is when you are a private citizen, you have a private business, and you went into business for profit, okay? And you compete with someone else who's providing the same business, who's providing the same service, or a service that's very similar to yours. And you allow the free market to determine what the prices of the goods and services you may be offering. And you are not interlinked with the government. The only link that you have with the government is that you have to pay taxes just like everyone else. Okay, so for example, if I develop a gadget and I worked for 5 years in my mother's basement saying, man, this gadget is going to be awesome because people are really going to love it. I make that gadget, I invest capital in that gadget, maybe I'll find some investors to invest in me because they believe in that gadget, and then I go ahead and put that gadget out in the market, and one of two things are going to happen. Either people are going to like that gadget and I'm going to be able to sell it for a profit and I'm going to make money, or I won't be able to sell it for enough of a profit because people don't like that gadget enough to where I'll only make a little bit of money. And depending on how much money I make and how much my overhead is, will depend on whether I get to stay in business or not. So that's kind of like a rundown of what capitalism is. Now, what my friend was describing, what is called crony capitalism. See, there's two different things. A lot of people mistaken capitalism for crony capitalism. Now, you let me know whether you agree with crony capitalism or capitalism. Now, the definition for crony capitalism is a situation in which a supposedly free market process, such as a competitive bid for government construction contracts, and they're just using this as an example, like a competitive bid for a government construction contract, is influenced by factors such as personal relationships or bribes. Crony capitalism is considered contrary to the spirit of a free market, since contracts may be awarded for reasons other than the lower prices or superior quality. Okay, so pretty much what this is saying is that crony capitalism is when a business joins with government through either a relationship. So this senator here has a cousin who makes barriers, and it just happens that the government needs to get a contract for barriers, and wow, it just happens that the cousin of this congressman ended up getting that contract. Or plain and simple, when someone in government is bribed so that someone can get a contract for whatever the reason is. So for example, let's say you have a large corporation that hires lobbyists, and the lobbyists have a lot of money that they can spend lobbying. And then a lot of the money that they use to spend lobbying, maybe they bribe someone, or maybe they say, well, I'll, put you up in a nice resort in this private island or whatever if you, push this bill through that will allow my company to get this bid. All right. And, and that's where it turns into crony capitalism. It's where the government and businesses are intermingled. Or, for example, let's say if you were the vice president, right, of the U.S., all right? It doesn't matter which one you are. Let's just say you're vice president of the U.S. And let's say that your country went to war. A war, by the way, that you as the vice president was really wanting to go to, all right? And then let's just use Afghanistan and Iraq let's just say those two, because those are the ones that we're still in, actually. All right. And let's say that you ended up going to war. You're the vice president, all right, who lobbied to go to that war, saying, yes, we need to go to war in these countries. And it just happens that the largest life support contract, and what I mean by life support is companies that facilitate showers, water, food, a company like Halliburton, right? So let's say that, and I'm just making this as an example. So let's say, for example, you're the vice president and you really lobbied to go to war. And let's say that a company like Halliburton was given the contract for life support in those two wars. And it just happens that you used to be in a very high leadership position in that company before you became a vice president. All right. So that's another form of crony capitalism, because you're using your influence as a government official to benefit a private company that you have relations with or had relations with. Okay. So I wanted to read you a couple of small things that I found that's going on today, or not today. This is about a day or two old, this article that I read. And I don't want to say cherry pick, but that's the best word that comes to mind right now is cherry pick. So I just took some excerpts from this article, and it's called Iowa legislators hatch a plan to stymie stores to switch to cage-free eggs. All right, it was published 11 March. If you type that in, you should be able to find that article. Iowa legislators hatch a plan to stymie stores switch to cage-free eggs, okay? And here's the beginning of the article. So, companies from McDonald's to Walmart have recently flocked to cage-free eggs, fueling a national sales boom for a product many believe is more humane, okay? So what they're saying there is that these companies, through demand of the consumer, are getting their eggs from, or most of their eggs from, companies that have cage-free chickens, because people are demanding that cage-free eggs because the chickens are treated in a more humane manner, okay? But in Iowa, the country's largest egg-producing state, there are fears that the trend has gone too far. And last week, lawmakers there passed an unusual bill that would require many stores to stock eggs from caged chickens, a move designed to stop retailers from phasing them out. So legislators in Iowa passed a bill that would keep stores from not selling the non-cage-free eggs. Pretty much saying that stores are going to have to sell the eggs that are not cage-free, the eggs that are manufactured in really big plants where chickens are in real tight quarters and they're pretty much in hell, from what I've seen, right? This is definitely one of the most bizarre things I've seen in my years monitoring these sorts of bills, said Cody Carlson, a staff attorney with the animal welfare group Mercy for Animals. The idea of forcing private businesses to sell a specific product is pretty unprecedented. Okay, now, the new legislation would not literally force stores to sell conventional eggs, though people involved in drafting the bill say it could eventually have that effect. As written, the legislation requires that stores carry conventional eggs if they participate in the special supplemental nutrition program for women and infants known as WIC. Now, you all let me know. Do your own research. Don't take my word for it of what crony capitalism is or capitalism is. But do you think that crony capitalism has a little part to do with Iowa passing a bill that says that non-cage-free eggs will have to be used in stores that want to provide nutrition in the form of WIC to mothers and infants and children? Okay, so if legislators were really that concerned about the nutrition of the food that the mothers and children and infants were getting from a store, they would probably say, hey, cage-free eggs are supposed to be better, because the chickens don't get as many medications. The chickens are allowed to be free and happy, and they're allowed to be chickens until they die, because eventually they're going to die. They'll probably get turned into dog food once they can't lay any more eggs. And that's just the fact of life. That's the way it is. 7 billion people in the world. That's what happens, all right? So that's something we have to live with, a fact that we have to live with, okay? So if they were really concerned about the well-being of these people that are on WIC or food stamp programs, wouldn't they want them to get the best nutrition that they could? Now, the article does go on to say that cage-free eggs are more expensive than caged eggs, and that they're trying to look out for the consumer. But you guys tell me what you think. Do you think that this bill that was passed in Iowa, that maybe it has a little bit of hint of crony capitalism, or do you think that it's capitalism? Do you think that this is fair, equal trade, or do you think that this is, trade that's involving the government having something to do with a company that has a lot of influence or a lot of lobbying power? All right, so this is going to be a short video today, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to go over that with you and see what your thoughts were on that. Thank you very much to all the subscribers. I am going to pick some next time that I do a video, because I have so many that have subscribed. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this community and for subscribing. I probably don't say it enough, but I truly do appreciate it. One thing that I almost never say, though, and I really haven't had a need to say it, is that if you do enjoy the content and you think that it's worthy, please do share it with someone else, because my goal is to try to get to as many people as possible so that they can get the message, okay? Now, I know this is a prepping channel, and I just covered something that really doesn't have to do much with prepping. I just thought that it was kind of an interesting article, and I thought that you guys would enjoy, hearing it, and maybe it would be a good thought exercise for you guys to wonder, what is capitalism and what is crony capitalism? Because some people don't even know that there is a difference. I remember having the same discussion with someone a while back, and they didn't even know that there is such a thing as crony capitalism. Okay, but you guys let me know what your opinion is. Like I said, I truly appreciate it if you guys shared the video or shared this content, and of course, smash the like button. I love saying that, smash the like button. And I appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much to all of you guys that have subscribed here in the last few days. I will try to get a shout out to you guys here soon. Someone asked me in a comment, I think it was yesterday, the day before yesterday, why do you shout out the subscribers' names? And I replied and I said, because that's, the only way really that I can show my appreciation for you guys having, or for you guys subscribing to the channel and taking a little bit of time out of your lives to listen to someone else rant. So I do appreciate it. Remember, reach one, teach one, and repeat. If everyone reached one, teached one, and then repeat, this world would be a better world. And there's no doubt about that. Okay, many blessings to all of you and your families. And this is Alaska Prepper, and I'm out.